Well, good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Halfway through the work week, actually more than halfway now that we're into Wednesday night. King 5 meteorologist Adam Claybon here to talk about some of the minor changes that we've seen in the models for this upcoming weekend with that Arctic air mass that will be heading its way in. More so even into early next work week where we're going to have that colder air around and how that will play into some possible winter weather for the lowlands. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're expecting here. We do expect to see colder temperatures than what we had today. Those highs today made their way into the low 40s. That's still below average for this time of the year. 43 for a high, 35 for a low. Nothing out of the rain gauge though out at SeaTac Airport. A few more of those highs, mid 40s in Bellingham, 45 as you get farther south into Olympia, and then current temperatures dropping quickly. Clearer skies around, and that's going to lead to some really chilly temperatures here as we go throughout the night. As we're back into the mid-30s in Everett, at 27 already in Bellingham. Here it's at about 9:30 p.m. And then you can see Winthrop, boy, they are just bone chilling cold at 4 degrees. Now, the country as a whole, we don't have our colors on here, but it does show you some of the numbers, and we have that colder air mass still really centered over more so the Rockies and heading into the Central Plains. Now, it is beginning to edge its way a little farther to the east, but we still got that next wave that's coming for us later on into the weekend, so we're going to get another dose of that cold air to come. Tonight, though, if you're heading out tonight, early tomorrow morning, dress warm. We got those temperatures near the freezing point. Some patchy areas of freezing fog shouldn't be a widespread concern. As we go ahead and zoom out, here you go. You can see the flow. High pressure still dominating, still keeping more of that flow out of the north, meaning the colder than normal temperatures will persist, but yet also at the same time will the quiet weather. So for tomorrow, clear skies. I know that 49ers Seahawks game looking chilly. Boy, we're going to call it cold. Temperatures in the mid to lower 30s and dropping below freezing by the time we head home after the game. Now, future radar tonight shows some of those areas of clouds and low fog really developing into the earlier part of tomorrow. I think we do get a chance at least to see a little more sunshine than we have earlier into the week for Thursday. Then we continue on tomorrow night and into the day on Friday, seeing more of the same really. And then we're going to keep an eye out for some of that moisture heading into Saturday. Here you go. You can start to see some very slight returns showing up on a future radar. And we do expect to see maybe at least a few spots, maybe getting in on some rain and snow over the weekend. Moisture is going to be limited, but I think the better areas are going to be farther north of Everett if we are going to get a chance to see that. Well, here it is. That's why. Colder air mass coming in from the north. Here we are going into early Saturday morning at 3 a.m. Still not quite in place yet, so it's going to be just a few spots again that get an opportunity to see some of that rain snow. Now, as we head into Sunday, moisture is going to be limited, but that cold air getting a little closer, but at the same time, too, a lot more of those widespread darker blues, even some of the pinks that you saw with this air mass coming southward. They're modifying. That air mass is going to warm to a certain degree, and then as we go on into Monday, kind of hovers around more so British Columbia with not making too much of a dive down into Washington and into Oregon. We're still feeling the impacts of it, but just not, of course, the full extent of it. Then it continues on off towards the south and to the east, so we might get a little more of a punch from that by the time we head into Wednesday. Before Thursday, it looks like that's heading off to the east and going more so into the central and northern plains with a lot more of that colder air, and we start to quiet down and start to warm up a little bit heading on into next Christmas weekend. High temperatures, you can see some of those reflected into early next week, falling back into the upper 30s, low 40s here for the next couple of days. So we go from cold to much colder. Lows tonight, pretty cold, upper 20s to low 30s. Keep an eye out for some of that fog early into the day tomorrow. Then check out the highs. We'll start off with some patchy areas of fog. I think a lot more areas of sunshine farther north here as we top off in the low to mid 40s there. A few upper 30s too. Upper 30s for Monroe. We'll top off at 40 in Redmond tomorrow. 42 for your high in Issaquah. For Thursday, we'll see highs around the low to mid 40s for South Sound here across the coast, seeing possibly a few upper 40s there. It looks like Forks up to 49, 45 in Ocean Shores, Chehalis up to 44, Eastern Washington, yeah, more the same, upper 20s, maybe a few lower 30s around Cle Elum and Yakima for some of those highs. Here's your 7-day forecast. We are going to definitely keep an eye on for what's happening, yes, over the weekend, but into the earlier part of next work week, because that will be, I think, the key time that we could have cold enough air into the lowlands that we can get some of that accumulating snowfall. As far as the weekend, temperatures are going to be pretty marginal, and it looks like just a few spots will have some of those opportunities. As I mentioned before, it looks like those areas are going to be near and north of Everett, heading on into the mid to latter part of Saturday night, and into Sunday. So still a lot to really get hashed out here over the next few days, but what we can tell you for sure is that colder air is going to head our way. We'll just see how much of it and to what extent it's going to be impacting us here across the state of Washington. Hey everyone, take care. Have a great, wonderful evening, and have a great Thursday too. Heading into the day tomorrow, we'll have more updates for you heading throughout the next couple of days and let you know what you need to prepare for as we head on into not only just this weekend, but for the upcoming work week, which looks like it's going to be a pretty busy travel week for some. Take care.